I've been teaching around since 2009. I teach a range of political science courses. Currently I'm teaching 4T06, Political Participation in Canada, 4G06, The Politics of Public Policy, and a graduate research seminar on public policy. Last term I also taught 3Z03, which is the implementation of Canadian policy. I try to use a number of strategies to engage students. First and foremost, I try and get them to connect what we're learning in class, the theoretical material, to current events, real-life events that matter to them that they hear about in the news every day. We also do a variety of problem-based learning scenarios and interactive fun activities. One of the activities that we do is a civic duty exercise. So to evaluate their civic duty, we pretend we're having 4 mock elections, a mock McMaster election, a mock municipal election, a mock provincial, and federal elections. And then I try and barter with them to sell me their votes for $200 fake dollars each. And if they're willing to sell all of their votes, then we know that they have a low sense of civic duty. But if they are keeping their votes very tightly close to them and not willing to sell them, then we know they have a high sense of civic duty. So really fun interactive exercises like that get them engaged. There's 3 primary things that I want students to take away from my classes. One, I want them to be able to take away some of the knowledge from the material that we've examined and be able to apply it to the real world. So 5 years from now, they're in some hot political debate and they can explain to somebody how the electoral system in the United States works because they've taken my class. I found when I was in university that there were 2 types of classes that I took. There were classes that I took that I did really well in, but I left not with a lot of knowledge lingering around about the topics that I studied. Then there were the types of classes that maybe I learned a lot, but I didn't actually do as well in. And that was my experience as an undergraduate student, and what I really try and do in my classes is blend that so that students are able to do well in the class, but also have lasting knowledge that stays with them. 2, I always try and get them to critically question the world. I tell them to critically question everything and to take responsibility for things, for themselves, for the world, for political participation. And finally, probably the most important lesson I try and impart to students is that their voice matters, that their activities, their participation in the world matters. And my favorite story that I like to tell in my classes, and some students love it and others laugh at me, is the story of Horton Hears a Who. It's a famous Dr. Seuss book, and Horton, the elephant, hears voices, who's on this speck of dust, and everyone else in his society thinks he's totally nuts. I think he's crazy. They say, they're going to boil the speck, and Horton says, come on, Who's, you have to make a lot of noise, and the Who's start making noise. They can't make enough noise, they can't be heard, and finally they find this one little girl, she's about 2 years old, and they bring her in to join on, and everyone says, oh, she's not going to help, she's 2 years old, and that one little voice, that one small voice makes the difference and saves the speck. So I like to impart that story to try and motivate them to show them that every voice matters. I practice what I preach. I'm very politically involved. Particularly, I'm involved in a lot of environmental advocacy, so I spend a lot of my free time volunteering for local community organizations, helping them conduct surveys so they can better understand environmental issues, helping them do outreach to the public, and promote issues around environmental conservation and sustainability.